Welcome to the Real Talk Corner podcast, where we dive deep into personal journeys and topics that inspire and transform us on a mind, body, soul, spirit level. I'm your host, Ariana Gutierrez, and I just want to thank all of the people that keep coming back to support this damn podcast. Yes, you are celebrated. All right, today I'm joined with a special guest, Teresina Diaz, the Mystic Pilgrim. In this episode, we'll explore the reality of a soul's purpose and how even the smallest actions can create significant changes in the world. We'll also discuss what it truly means to be a beacon of light and unpack her inspiring journey to becoming a guiding light in this world. Let's get started. The Real Talk Corner. We back. We in the building. As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, fighting my way through the darkness where the wicked don't rest. Conscious aware, truth I dare, shield tied to my chest. My tenacity can put these motherfuckers to the test. High priestess of fire, alchemistic desire. I say manifest and shit, even when I am tired. You can call me amazing by the bricks I've been laying, but you'll never call me lazy, cause my vibes are devastating. In the league of my own, spitting real talk energy. I know a little something about a thing called synergy. This is so ready, throw with sending masses away from me. Listen up, cause we about to set your mind, body, and soul free. All right, let's get into it today with my special guest, Teresina Diaz, and she's from Mystic Pilgrim. I'm going to let you just explain a little bit of who you are, what you do before we actually get into the content.
That's fine. I really consider myself a guide, a spiritual guide. From the very beginning, I was told I was a lighthouse, which is what I want to talk about because it's so out there. So what I do is through many different venues, either teaching, healing, massage, I point the way and light the light on you so that you can find your path. So you become another mystic pilgrim like I do. And it's been a very interesting journey because being a light bearer or a lighthouse is not like you can have a curriculum or you go to any school to get certified. It's been really interesting and I didn't know how to explain it. And I had a friend come over and I was telling her about this interview. And she told me that, first of all, wherever I go, I'm like the light in the dark, not to sound egotistical, but, wherever I go, there is light. And many people describe me that way, like I bring a fresh wind, I bring the light in. And at the same time, the work that I do is otherworldly, like there is no job description, which was just perfect to really describe what I do. So you can meet me in a supermarket. I might be the person that smiles at you and just pats you in the back when something is going wrong. The person that activates grids. The person that you come and get a massage and get like some kind of breakthrough. I'm also a QHHT, a remote viewer teacher, which I really like. But it's interesting, and that's what I want to focus on this conversation that we're going to have. How being a lighthouse or a light bearer is such a challenging thing to, if it's not from this world, how can you live in this world with it? And I'm not the only one. There are many of us out there. So, hopefully we can reach a few of them.
Right. I definitely understand what you're saying, as I am too. And we'll talk a little bit about that later, of just trying to, it's not something I don't think you can understand. And there's not that many people who even can tell you what that means as you're going through your path. You literally are just learning techniques until boom, it kind of hits you. And then it's like, oh, this is what it is.
Yeah. And then when you think you got it, it is not.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about that. But what inspired you to start your journey as this guiding light? to be the beacon of light, especially with spirituality. I don't know if you have a religious background also that you've come from, but that just being, what's that made you or wanted, pushed you to say, this is going to be my journey.
I'm Roman Catholic by birth. I walked away from the church for obvious reasons for everybody. It's like and
Right.
I heard somebody say that I'm a recovering Roman Catholic. So I
Right.
like that. I'm stealing that line because that's what I am. And why it began is it was really by accident, really. It was by going into a really difficult situation that I didn't know what to do. And then all of a sudden, just taking a workshop in A Course in Miracles and just opening up once again to guidance from the archangels, because that's my main group that I channel and I work with. And from the very beginning, they told me it was a lighthouse, but that was about 25 years ago. And like I said, just last week it clicked in, sort of, I think. I'm not
Right.
sure. For
So
now,
maybe.
because that's how it's been. But I was told, do not follow a path like everybody else. It's different. But how can you do that? You're in your 30s. You want to be
Right.
like Esther Hicks because I channel. I want to do like this, like I want to be like that. And even in my practice, it's not like I've been able to hone on one thing. And that
Right.
is the difficult thing, is just that we are not just one thing. That
Right.
one thing might give us the income. Meanwhile, while we figure out that we're going to be supported, but while you are still in your head thinking that you need to pay the bills, and you do. Don't quit your job if you're
Right.
not sure, because otherwise, it's going to be just, you're going to end up losing everything. So don't do that.
Right.
Once you feel that it's sort of okay, then begin to let go. But little by little, I just been every time just letting go more. I come from a childhood of trauma, so just
Mm.
letting go. I don't know if that is a prerequisite to be a lighthouse. It just
Big
seems
one.
that everybody went through lots of trauma as a child.
Yeah. I think it's a big prerequisite because learning to let go, it's just a part of it. And I think it's just the built-in mechanism of, because what we bring in of being that light. So being that light, being that space where people come and they're like, oh, I feel better after talking to you, or, I'm healed, I feel healed now just having a conversation with you. And I feel like it's that filter of just
Mhm.
letting it go. I don't know how to really say besides just doing it, because I think letting go is one of the hardest things that we have to do, especially hurt and anger, especially anger and acceptance. I think are the two biggest ones in every situation, is letting go and accepting what is.
Mhm.
But what are share some of your, like, maybe significant challenges as you've been in this path?
It was really letting
Mm.
go, like not wanting to control and to make things the way I want to. I'm a Taurus by astrological sign. I'm
Mm.
if you are familiar with the human design, I'm a manifestor. So I'm used to getting my way, and I have enough background and energy to make things happen if
Mm.
I want to. If I want to, but it's so exhausting. So I turned 63 and now I don't have the energy, thank God, to want to have it my way. So I think healing mother, healing dad, all of that, was easier. But letting go, because of my trauma, I wanted to feel secure.
Mm.
And if you didn't feel secure, I would just make sure that I was secure. So things had to be the way I imagined them. Otherwise, it would throw me off, and I would get all scattered all over the place. So
Right.
the letting go, I believe, is began now, really, and how it is, or how it happened to me, is that I didn't have time with everything that was going in my life. I didn't have time to worry about it,
Mm.
obsess about it, worry about it. It was just kind of put it out there and let it go. And then all of a sudden, in a way, in a day, in hours, I would either get my answer or things will happen much better
Mm.
Can tell you that about 99% of the time, not the way I thought it was going to happen,
Right.
but in a way that it was better. So I think that just, and I don't know if it's also past life traumas from being burned at the stake, like many,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
so you just want to make sure that you're okay, but you're never going, there's no, you're always going to be okay, but you cannot control things. So my biggest hurdle, and it's taking me about 25 years, is to let go more.
Right.
And
Right.
then just amazing things like showing up in my life, everything that my path just totally shifted completely. I'm in the middle of a move to another country. It's a good move, something that I wanted and I felt, but it's just happened because I did not think about it. I just and many a time I just think about something and then forget about it because I'm so
Mm.
busy. And once that happens, it becomes easier for me to do that because I have like my angels call it like a reference point. So whenever I'm going crazy, I go, let it go. You know how it happened when you wanted a hamburger and somebody showed up with a hamburger for you, or when you wanted this and this happened. Just let it go. Turn
Yeah.
around. Just put it out there and turn around. So
Right.
I would think that was one of my security, and with that came like not feeling that I'm worthy, that I'm good
Mhm.
enough, a whole bunch of issues.
Right.
Wanting to be like someone else, and then at the same time not being very extrovert. It's
Mm-hmm.
more of a quiet time. So I think that a lot of light bearers, lighthouses, we are quiet types. We can sit in the back and do a lot, but no one ever noticed sometimes. Well, that's what we think, but people always notice.
Yeah, definitely. When you talk about letting go, I think that there's the misunderstanding when we're going through this path of letting go completely, and that means you may need to let go of some physical aspects in your life that you're holding on to. You mentioned being a Taurus and having that kind of stability or that structure wise, but sometimes letting go is letting go of that as well, of what you think you know to be your foundation
Mhm.
or your especially material or on the physical side, right?
Mhm. Yeah, and also many people think that letting go is doing nothing, right? I mean, like I just put it out there, so it's gonna jump in my lap. Which
Right.
things jump in my lap? Don't get me wrong. Like you jumped in my lap. I mean, like I'm there in Facebook, and then there you are.
Right.
Work. Somebody calls. Like they just land on my lap, but I still need to act. I still need to make that phone call. I still needed to make sure I have my equipment working, and then it doesn't work. Put makeup on, like I still
Right.
need to do things, but instead of, so Esther Hicks compared it as baking a cake and opening the oven door every 2 minutes. Is it done yet? Is it done
Right.
yet? I never, I knew what she meant, but now I can live that, so
Right.
I can kind of put the cake in the oven and check on it in 30 minutes.
Right. Right. I
Yeah,
actually, and if you guys don't know who Esther is, she goes by Abraham Hicks
that's
also
right.
when she's channeling. And I love a lot of the content. She's one of probably the first people I came
Mhm.
across when I came into my spiritual journey and just trying to
Yeah.
understand what she was saying is at first it doesn't make sense. You're like, this is bullshit. This is not making sense here.
Well, I mean, the good thing about her is that Abraham is so funny. And I must say that
Mhm.
my guys are also very funny.
Right.
So taking it from that point of view, and I mean, and she always says a little bit more. I haven't heard that much from her in a little while. I mean, I've been in, you kind of go to other teachers, but she was instrumental, like you say. She was one of the first ones for me. And it's funny because for me, it was like there was a miscommunication. So my brain, my intuition, maybe my third eye knew what they were talking about,
Right.
but I just couldn't bring it down into my
Right.
body. I would react. I would try to control it, and I really think that just learning to not worry about it and think about it that
Mhm.
much, and the
Right.
less you think about it, the faster it comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Some things, and some things, they may never come in.
Right. I think that also too, a lot of people get stuck in the why not me, right? Why can't I have that? Why it's the
Mm.
comparison with someone else's life anyway. But it just may not be for you in that particular way. I get a lot of people who, and I like that what we're talking about today because a lot of people get stuck in what's my purpose? What's my path? And it's just like you could do so many things. If you really, I've been shown if you allow yourself just to go wherever you're being shown to go, there's so many things that open up. Like myself, I started in tarot and I opened up my mediumship. I learned all about chakras and energy. And then I too became a QHHT level one. And it's these things of just allowing spirit to kind of show us and bring us wherever you need to go. And now I'm adding psychology to that. So but it took a lot of that surrender you talk about to just say, all right, I'm not supposed to still be in this one space of just doing tarot readings. Here goes another space that they're bringing me to open up and learn. And then, okay, I'm not supposed to stay there because, I'm interested in this. And then you see some stuff come across and you're just like, not called to that instinct that's like flowing through you to say, that's great and that's beautiful, but not called to that. I'm going to keep going. What was it like to really listen to that inner voice? Because I know there's always, in the beginning,
Mhm.
there's a fight with that inner
Well,
voice.
sometimes, I mean, like my guys, because I have a friend that asked me, she's Christian, and how do you talk to the angels? I know I talk to them, but do you address them? Do you have to ask for their permission? Do you address them as sir, mom? And then I go, oh no. Like, I mean, I've been with my guys, and from the very beginning with Archangel Michael, it's like
Yeah.
whenever something happens, it's like, what the, what the heck? What, are you freaking kidding me? I have these
Right.
tantrums with them and stuff like that. So it's listening to that inner voice is easier when you can let go. And that
Mm-hmm.
that is like a catch 22, right? So how can I let go? Is to know that and I feel it, at least I feel it from a different place. So I feel it from in between the heart chakra
Mm-hmm.
and the third chakra is
Mm-hmm.
somewhere there, just in between. I know that is the right calling, and it just feels right. And most of the time is illogical.
Mm-hmm.
It's not
Yeah.
a logical thing. So I try not to get my mind involved, and it's just trusting to know, because sometimes if you feel it from another part of your body, I don't know if it's only me that feels it from there. No, I mean, I've been told that it's somewhere in between your heart chakra and your third chakra. When those
Mm-hmm.
communicate, that is your truth. That's your spirit talking.
Yeah.
When that is where it comes from. And when it comes from, then listen to it. And then, just like of course, I have many friends like me, right? And then sit with it. Don't go and do it. Many times it's not like, oh, I think I should move to China. And then all of a sudden you put your house on the market. No, no, no. Just wait. I mean, that is an intuition that you have. Now think about the timing. Is it going to happen now? Is it not going to happen now? So for me, it's becoming clearer, and I'm trusting it because I let go and I trust it. I had trust issues. So trusting that part was difficult, but it has not, there is no but. It just has not let me go astray. Every time I know is the right thing, and I can almost guarantee you that it's not logical. It's not the logical move. I don't know why, but it's not the logical move. But at the end of it, it ends up being the best thing for you. So that answer your question?
Yeah. I mean, for me, I had to realize that one, we all kind of feel differently. And I had to learn, probably relearn how to connect with my body. And I was so disconnected to
Mm,
my own body. when I was coming into this. So learning that and really feeling when something's happening, when something's going, really feeling it. Where am I feeling it? Paying attention to where you're
Mhm.
feeling it, what part of the body you're feeling it, and then
Mhm.
understanding the chatter of the ego and the confusion of the ego to when it was my higher self or it was an angel or a guide coming in, and that just seemed like so to the point their information where the ego was like the confusion chatter
Mhm.
going on and the fear. So once I started to bring in the discernment of what's fear based, what's, the obsessive compulsive energy,
Mhm.
overthinking chatter versus just clear information, I was like, oh, okay, that
Yeah.
helps. But it does take a lot of sitting and practice this, sitting with
Mhm.
yourself, understanding, sitting with your guides. It seems silly at first, but as you do it, you get more comfortable, feeling how each of them are different, what energy, warmth, hugs, the love. I remember probably one of the first times I had just that pure angel presence come
Mhm.
through, and I started to cry. I started to cry because it was just pure love coming through my heart space. And I was just so overwhelmed by it that I just was boohoo crying.
Yeah.
But it was so beautiful in that moment to feel that. And I think that's where we just have to allow ourselves to get there. And we definitely can. It's letting go of all of those barriers of what you think you have to do or what you're, going to connect to, and just allowing it in. And it's just like, oh, this is different.
Well, I've been told by my guides that we are dismantling a lot of the ancestral patterns in your DNA and some of the ancestral spiritual DNA. So the two of them. So
Yeah.
we a lot of the stuff is the belief system, depending on how old you are and what generation you come from, is more or
Right.
less. With
Yeah.
me, it was quite a bit. So I had to dismantle all of that. And the interesting thing for me is that if I really look back at my messages, I guess a remote view and the other training that I had, the messages are bang on. I mean, it's just I don't know how to integrate and apply that information into my life.
Right.
So, like, let go so that this and this happens. How do I let go? If I am like that, hanging on to something, how?
Right.
And whatever they tell me, it just wouldn't make sense to me until finally, becoming older has the great grace of you have to watch out how much energy you put into stuff.
Yeah.
So you're gonna put it into the fear. I don't have time for that one. So
Yes.
that is, and I guess for younger people, it would be just to trust it. The interesting thing is that there is nothing you have to do. I don't know if you find that out. It's really like I don't have to recite a mantra. I don't have to go walking, although it helps if I'm very, very
Yeah.
uptight. Walking in nature helps. But what my aha moments come for me, when I'm washing dishes, when I'm ironing, something repetitive that
Hmm.
I'm really concentrated on taking away all of the dirt of a plate or ironing, then
Yeah.
boom, the messages will come. But like I said, this interview is really timely because I just think that I can tell you that I'm finally beginning to let go.
Right. Right. I love the guiding light. Coming into spirituality, I didn't understand what that meant of being that beacon of light. I didn't understand what that meant either. And I was trying to find kind of my place in spirituality. Where do
Mm-hmm.
I go? What do I do? Who am I in this place? And I think a lot of people get lost in spirituality, especially coming from religious backgrounds. It's easy to try to navigate to something that's a little cult based,
Yeah,
practices, because you can get lost in those as well, right?
yeah.
But having the discernment to say, nope, that's not it. So, what would you say are some of the qualities that someone being a beacon of light or a light, I don't want to say light bearer, but someone of the light that's supposed to hold that space? What are some of the qualities that they would have to understand that they are one?
Well, if you feel like you don't belong in any particular place or any particular um, healing, like you just keep looking and you don't find anything. That is one of the clues that you would have, and it's not because you are not ready. You're really looking, and it's because you don't belong in any of those niches or those places. People like to hang around you because they virtually called you. You bring in the light, like I've been told. Like you bring in the light, you bring a fresh air. I really like being with you and stuff like that. When you are with people, because we're highly sensitive as well, we tend to get drained. So we need time to retreat and recharge. So give yourself that, otherwise you get a little bit, you can get sick. You don't find your place. I mean, that's it. You keep looking and looking and looking and looking, and you're really good at many things, but it just, more than looking, it just does not happen. It does not manifest. So you will not get the QHHD, even though you're great. I'm great at what I do, but I don't get that practice. The only reason why we tend to do so many things good is in order for us to get on 3D the money we need for now.
Mm-hmm.
We are, I mean, I would think that we're really, really confused most of the time because we don't have a template on 3D.
Right.
So, I mean, I mean, if you're out there and you're totally, totally, totally like confused, I don't know what to do. Well, discern, like, have you been looking? Do you have things to dismantle or not? But because every time I think this is it, boom, it fizzles out. And then the
Right.
next thing, and it booms. Like, I mean, it booms, but it brings me the income that I need for whatever I need to do, because I also do grid work. Being a light bearer does a lot of other stuff. I may
Right.
need to be someplace and stuff like that. So I mean, I think it's one of the things is that one of the big ones is that you don't find your niche and things seem to fizzle out. And of course,
Mm-hmm.
we always go to, well, maybe I'm not ready. What am I blocking it? Which might be the truth. You need to discern. But it gets to a
Right.
point where it just doesn't happen.
Right.
If somebody calls you a light bearer, a lighthouse, that's what you are. That's what you are. And I guess basically, I mean, all of my spiritual life, I did a lot of stuff, but I was totally confused. I would
Mm.
never find like you say, looking for my purpose is, like my friend said, it's an otherworldly purpose, maybe a
Yeah.
5D, maybe something else, not better or worse than anything else, but very confusing.
I'm gonna share this beautiful oracle card that is what helped me understand. I'm gonna share that in a little bit, but it is hard to understand what that means, because being that beacon of light, it comes with an energy also that we don't realize. And that just the presence of you, which it's not being on ego, it's not like, oh, I'm better than everyone else,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
there's an energy
Mhm.
that you carry within that is not only magnetic to others, but it's way outside this physical body.
Mhm.
It
Uh-huh.
can go miles. And the more you work
Mhm.
on it, of course, the more it extends, right?
That's right.
And that was a big, like, wait, what? Like, what are they talking about? What is this that they're talking about? But the more and more you kind of sit with it and think about it, that's true of not, you're not going to find a place. You're not meant to be in one place.
Yeah.
You're meant to go around in different spaces and places. And, in the beginning, also, I would have people constantly just come and leave and come and leave. And I was like,
Mhm.
Jesus, is anyone ever going to stay in this path? Like, am I going to have any friends? And then to realize that, well, you're needed for short periods of time. And
Yeah.
that's how it is. That's the same thing with love. It was been the same thing. Like, damn, like, am I going to have a person? Like, but you realize, like, not just that you're a healer, but people come to you, but it
Yes.
may not be forever. Like, they come and then they go live their lives. And I think that's a little depressing part to it, though, of what I've seen in some people, if you take it that way. Because, of
Mhm.
course, if you just take it as, oh, everybody's leaving, then your trigger with your traumas or your traumas are coming out. And if you don't see the beauty of what you're doing,
Yeah.
because I've heard a lot of women, say this too, and they're not a lot, but there are very few that are like, every man they're with goes off to go marry the next person, or, they're the better person. And it's just like, well, you were there to help in that way, but you weren't meant to stay. And I know that kind of can feel sucky, but it's the truth. It's the deeper truth.
Well, for me, being a Taurus, I collected stuff and I collected friends. So I knew that I value myself with friendships. But then I needed to realize that people come and go. I have friends that have been there for the longest time, like 30, 40 years, that come and go. I don't know if that happens to you. They come
Yes.
and go. They come and go. So, and then somebody, like I have my strong basis of friends that, you can reach, whether they have come and gone, you can reach them and they'll be there for you. And then I realized that I needed to make room for new people to come in, because if you're very busy and trying to the same thing, trying to control, try to
Yeah.
hold on. I've been told by my guides that a lot of light workers, not light workers, light bearers, lighthouses, we came also here with a partner, because we need 3D support, meaning financial support mainly, I would think. Everything else, but
Right.
financial support, because it's very difficult to be there for someone when you have to show up for work.
Right.
So
Right.
I really have not had like a 9-to-5 job ever, even though I divorced and stuff like that. I had a really wonderful way of manifesting and creative way of manifesting money when I needed it.
Yeah.
But that partner will come and will stay, because he will grow for us, being male or she, depending what your orientations are. But that
Right.
partner will show up when we're able to allow him to show up. That was a
True.
catch and,
True.
and everything. And meanwhile, whoever shows up in your life, be grateful when they're there. And when they go, let them go. And you go through a mourning process. Right now, my life is changing. So I'm moving from San Antonio, Texas to Mexico. It's a great
Okay.
move. It's something that I needed. It's my next step. Recently, I've been told over and over again, you're moving to Mexico. And finally I got fed up and said, well, this is like the 50th time somebody tells me. And then I said, I don't know how I'm going to do that. Not enough money to retire. So you better get me a free home, a car, food, comfortable environment, really great. And I don't have to worry about it. And we'll talk about it. And I left that and there. Then it came in the most strange way. So my dad passed away in March. And my mom is alone now. I get along with my mom quite well. So I'm moving in with her in Mexico.
Yeah.
So guess what? I have house, food, car.
Yeah. And it's like that. I would have never believed in any of this before because of how harsh my life has been.
Mm-hmm.
But when I got to the end of my 30s is when I started to go into the spiritual path. And it was literally like that, where things started to open up. The more I believed in that the universe can create the magic for me and I need to step out of the
Mm-hmm.
way, the more and more I did it, the easier it got. And then in 2020, I kind of retired from the workforce and said, never going back to work for anyone else. And I've actually been okay.
Yeah.
I've been okay. Like same thing you say, even though I haven't done all of the same things, but I've been okay. Bills are paid. I'm great. Not that there haven't been some things that I've had to go through, but that's all the healing and stuff that you have to go through. And
Mm-hmm.
if you're holding on, you're not surrendering, you can make it worse than what it needs to
Yeah.
be,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I've been okay. And I talked about, because I've been in Illinois for almost 2 years now. It's been a little over a year and a half. And my move was kind of like that. I was in Florida. Was never thinking about leaving Florida. I'm in a sunshine state. We're never going to leave there. And Spirit kept trying to get me to get out of there, because I kept saying, I don't want to work as hard, or I don't want to be so involved with too many things. I don't want to have to be, because I have my own business. So I was constantly doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm exhausted. I was getting exhausted with clients and all this. I was like, I'm exhausted. I need peace. And I kept saying that I need peace. I need to just relax. I want to be okay, but pay the bills. And then the opportunity, boom, out of nowhere came. And it was just like, I'm
Yeah.
not passing this one. All right, sign me up.
Yeah. And that is the beauty of asking, allowing it to happen, listening, like is, even though you're not doing anything, the opportunity came your way. And
Yeah,
then to have the strength and to be brave enough to make the change.
definitely.
Because so many people much rather be in a miserable situation. And I have been there too, where you
Yeah,
are there, but you don't want to change. And
yeah,
also in this case, for example, for anybody that's making a humongous change and a leap of faith and a quantum leap, just be human, feel it, because I'm at the same time that I'm really happy that I am going. As the date gets closer, I'm beginning to go into grieving because I'm grieving for the
yeah,
friends. And the other day I got angry at myself. I said, "You're going to get so much more while you're grieving." And I heard my angel say, "You need to, you're human. So let it be.
yeah,
Don't repress it. Go through it. Don't get stuck there." Just
right.
because, yeah, you're going to miss them. What you have here is going to be different and better, but you have to go through that because you're going to put distance between them, or so you think, because there's no
Right.
distance, but you're still human in a body. So don't try to fight with that. So it's been really, really interesting to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. It's a huge piece to remember, to allow yourself to feel and go through the changes, because
Mhm.
just because the opportunity is there doesn't mean it's going to be easy peasy. It doesn't mean there's not going to be anything that you might have to look at, especially with letting go and
Yeah.
any fear, those emotions of failure, emotions, the fears of starting over, and all of those things of what that looks like. Yeah, those are huge things that you have to work through. I had to do it coming here. I sat and I started to get depressed and sad, and I was in my mode of like, what am I doing? Did I make the right choice? Is this going to
Mhm.
work? And why am I here? I'm in this small town. All of those questions. But then little by little, it becomes very apparent of the whys. And you just start to see it blossom. And you're just like, oh, okay, this is actually for the better. But not everything. I don't think it's always going to be so apparent
Yeah.
and known, because we're meant to go through it.
Yeah. And then,
Just
I mean,
know,
no,
right?
and you know that the tarot and the guides will not reveal it because it's for you
Right,
to find out. The other thing too is that, in the other hand, for whoever is listening and they feel that, well, I don't feel I can do it right now.
right.
Well, that's also valid. The only thing that I've learned is that if it's really meant to happen, the volume is going to go up and you're going to be in a lot of pain
Yeah,
until the opportunity to move again comes along, because they're
yeah,
pushing you to. So a lot of the times I can almost feel my angels going to kick my butt, and I go, no, 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 wait, look, I'm taking one step at a time, don't kick me because that hurts a lot.
yeah.
But when, sometimes when the moves need to be done, so, just sit with it. And with me was, in Mexico, we have a female president. My family didn't like her or doesn't think, whatever it is. So
Mm,
they were discouraging me, telling me that, what are you doing? What are you moving here? Like, not my mom, but my cousins and stuff like that. And then I go like,
mm,
no, no, I said it, you believe in God. So this is a godly move. So I know it's gonna be fine. Then I began to investigate, because my angels told me to investigate certain things, and I'm at ease. No, nowhere, we're not sure of anything anywhere. So,
yeah, yeah.
so even if things begin to feel a little bit weird, just go with it.
Yeah, there's no guarantees. Just because we're being guided somewhere, there's no guarantee. There's so much, and I kind of always try to explain this. There's so much outside of us going on that we can't control. The only thing we do is have control of how we react to everything. How am I
Yeah.
reacting to what's going on? How do I choose to move forward after whatever's happening? That's all you got. That's all you can do, right?
Yeah, and to know that if you're in the spiritual path, it doesn't mean that it's going to be like hunky dory all the way. You still need to learn.
Yeah,
Just hopefully the challenges won't be as major, or they won't be as devastating to you or to me,
right.
because we have those spiritual tools that we have. But like I said, being the same thing, being a lighthouse makes it different because we're a jack of all trades to keep us financially until we find that way that's gonna back our work, because there are people and there are things if you allow them to. I don't know if you're familiar with Matteo De Stefano. He's an Argentinian that he remembers all of his past lives. So he's very
Oh,
much
yeah.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
if you want to research him, he would be like the lighthouse to the nth degree. Like since he was
Mm,
12, all kind of stuff happened. He was diagnosed as schizophrenic before. So it's not like hunky dory all the way either.
right.
But he's gone to places to anchor lights, to drop keys, to do a lot of the work that a lot of the lighthouses do.
Right.
But
Right.
the only thing is that somewhere along the line, he knew he has no money, but he knew he needed to go someplace and people would show up, from almost nowhere looking for him,
Right.
and they would finance his
Mhm.
trips.
Right.
And that's what the life better life should look like.
Right.
Of
I
course.
actually came across him on Gaia TV.
Yeah.
So I've seen a lot of his stories actually, and it's amazing, because of course, person in QHHT. So I love asking asking questions, and I love doing the sessions and just going into to retrieve. But yeah, you won't get anything unless it's time for you to to get it.
Well, it is time and you allow it to happen, because it might
Hmm.
be time, but you're still caught up in the fact of how you're going to pay for it.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
He never, I mean, he thought like, he said, okay, I need to go there. So now how am I going to pay about it? But not in the pack, not how am I going to pay for it? He would always ask how it's going to, where is it, how is it going to happen? Because
Right.
we usually I try to pay for it. I try to do for stuff. And
Hmm.
that's not the way. So like the way is there are people, and I've been told, we came up with a big group of sponsors, and that's what their job is. They're good at making money. That's what they do, and they're looking for the particular light worker. But if you think that if you don't let it in, if you're not looking for it, if you try to do it by yourself, they might even show up and you don't see them, or they don't see you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I was going to say that because opportunities are always there, but do you see it? Do you recognize it? Can you recognize it when it comes in? And you have to be able to not let the fears, because even like the move for me, there was like that bit of fear coming in. Am I going to be okay? Am I letting go of what I think this false reality of stability? Right? Letting, because I had a crystal store also.
Oh,
So it was like
but
letting
it's so
go.
convincing, isn't it? I mean, you're so
You're set. You're like, oh, but I'm gonna let this go, and I'm gonna let this income go, and I'm gonna let all this stuff go, and how am I gonna be okay? Because that scarcity starts to come back in, all of those things. And I
Mhm.
think there's levels to healing that. I don't want anyone to ever think you just one thing you're gonna be
No.
healed and boom. It's these levels that it does come from past lives, it comes from our childhood years, it comes from all of those things that we have to process, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, it's like letting go of what we think we know. We think this is stability, and it's all crap.
Yeah.
Even like people that have been working at the same job for 40 years, it's like that's still a false sense of stability. They
Yeah.
can you at any time.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what we're looking for. And the thing is that, I mean, whatever you have built, even $1 billion can go away so fast. So
Right.
there is not really, and there is nothing like if you wait until something else happens, then you can do it. No, I mean, you're needed in the moment that you are needed. So for all of those lighthouses, hopefully that are called to this program, accept it. It's not better, it's not less. Let yourself be taken care of. Begin to trust, be discerning, of course, be
Right.
discerning, do your shadow work, do the things that you need to do, but we are needed. We are the quiet ones. We are the ones that are weaving the energetics for the next steps. We're the quiet teachers, the ones that usually work better one on one or in small groups. um, I don't know. Maybe if I get famous, I'll call you back and say, "Hey, look, look." Oh, no, look what happened. But if it doesn't happen, it's okay.
Right.
It's okay. That's who we are. We are almost like the background that is weaving so that people can step on a firmer footing of light. The ones
Right.
that are activating the grids for the next technology of the earth to
Right.
come in for so many stuff. So yes, we are supported. Allow yourself to be supported. Work on your shadows, and just light up.
Right.
Light
You
up.
talk well, you just mentioned the lighting the grid, which a lot of people don't realize that's even with us like relocating. Relocating to
Mhm.
another place is another
Yeah,
pinpoint of
yeah.
energetic
Mhm.
activation, right?
Mhm. Just the being in that place, so you are called to certain places. With me,
Hmm.
it's become, since 2019 it became more going places and activating grids, crystalline grids, some kind of, I don't understand it 100%, is some kind of crystalline technology that was shut down in order for it not to be abused. So it's almost like I
Mm,
have certain keys. I know that went to Carlsbad Cavern. I activated one there, and the activation went all the way to the border with Canada. And on the south, it did cross into the Desert of Silence in Mexico. And I
mm,
know that eventually I might go to the Desert of Silence to continue the grid. So it's almost like we have the keys, like an actual key that
right.
activates them. And I'm not the only one, but I'm doing my part. And I know
Mm,
the one that grid from Carlsbad up north in Canada, somebody needs to activate it. I don't have the keys. I know that much, that I don't have the keys. Somebody in Canada needs to go and do it. And they're forming stars, and they're forming different patterns
right.
to allow, to anchor the energy that is being brought in from the heavens, from the
Right.
space, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
And it might be just, and sometimes it's just like you said, being in one spot and anchoring the light, that city that may have been dark and you didn't even know it, or that area that may have a lot of trauma. Just by
Right.
being there, you're healing.
Right.
And like I said, so it's not like you go to a course of anything, level 1, level 2, level 3. It's about
No.
allowing yourself to remember. So I can hear, I know what I need to do.
Right.
Just trust it. And in that respect, so much trust issues that I have, but in that respect, I do. Like the first time that doesn't happen, something happened was in the pyramids in Chichen Itza or around there. And I just did what it needed to be done. And then later on, of course, information comes to you. And those ones were dragon lines, female and male dragon lines that were activated. So they're like ley lines.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a beautiful thing, and I know, yeah, a lot of you might listen to this and just be like, what are they talking about? But it really is just, over time you'll realize what I know I'm still in the stage of just really fine tuning my light as that beacon, and the past, especially like the past 2 years for me, has been really just holding space, really learning how to hold that space as a light tower, right? And so
It is,
the
yeah.
card I'm going to read you
I
guys
mean, you
is
said
about
it,
being a
it's like
light
a
tower, and
light
this is what
tower.
helped me. Yeah, this is what helped me kind of understand, because I couldn't understand why they were setting me to sit still and be
Mhm.
kind of in the background and just kind of relax and chill and not really do. And I'm like, what? What
Mhm.
are we doing? And it
Because
took, because I'm
you're doing a lot. And then because of how much energy you need to, that's
right.
another thing that I would share with you and your listeners. Because of the amount of energy that we actually can anchor, um, you need to rest afterwards, because the body needs to rest. That's one. And the other thing is that eventually, like right now, I know that they do upgrades, or they do rewiring, they call it, so that your energetic body can hold and anchor more light. So right now we're continuously being upgraded in that respect, so that we can anchor more light. So you need to rest.
Yeah.
You because you are tired, and that's part of this. It's part of what is going on. My angel says always, if you feel bad, go to the doctor. The doctor says, I don't know what's wrong with you, so then talk to us, because we don't
Right.
want you to have something physically and then, whatever. But most of
Right.
the time it's upgrading that they are doing, which everybody on the planet is having, but we're having because we came in with a bigger. It's almost like cables, how much energy can it hold?
Right.
So if they don't rewire us, then we'll blow up a circuit.
Right. I even was it last year. Last year I hurt my knee.
Mm.
And I asked in one of the QHHT sessions, like, what's up? Like, let's heal this. And my higher self was just like, yeah, no, if we heal it faster, you'll just go back to doing what you were doing.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
you need to slow down. And it's just like, like,
yeah. And with a world that is going so fast, and everybody's doing this and everybody doing it that, and I think that you said it before, and it's very important to just say it again. Do not compare yourself to others.
yes.
And begin to get what I wanted to talk about this. I could have talked about so much stuff. Is on in order for us light bearers, lighthouses, to get together and actually have common ground to talk about,
Yeah.
because it's not really out there that much.
No.
You hear about the people that channel and make changes and have
Yep.
courses, and we are quiet, and we might just need a quiet group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I've come across anyone who understands or knows. And like I said, I've just barely really kind of understood
Mhm.
of what being this
Mhm.
light tower. And I came across it as what they told me was a light tower. And I'm like, thinking of a light tower, and I get it and I get the concept. And then I was trying to understand it, but I haven't really talked to anyone who understands that's what their purpose is, and understanding like there's not just, 6 months, a year, 10 years, but it's like the path, a part of it. You're going to be in
Mhm.
many spaces, many places, and that's okay. But understanding that and being okay with that is a whole different story, because everyone's trying to strive for a particular purpose in a
Yeah.
particular place with the idea of this wealth and stability. And it's still the 3D concept.
Yeah, and that's very important in the 3D concept, because really our purpose is, we have already talked about it all through this conversation, is about light, about focusing and spreading the light by you showing up. That's it. What a marvelous thing. You don't need to take a course, you need a certification. That's what it is. But because, like my friend said, is otherworldly. It's something ahead of its time, if you so wish to call it. And maybe
Yeah.
eventually in 100 years, 200 years, there'll be light bearers, showing up. Like there'll be a job description. We need a light bearer in
Right, right.
Timbuktu or whatever. But right now, no one recognizes it. Right now, they don't know it. We that are the lighthouses, the light towers, the light bearers, we don't know it. So it's very simple. You just need to be and allow to be taken care of, which is very difficult when you are on a 3D that is so focused on title, curriculum vitae, what do you do, what do you don't do. And like I tell a friend, I said, like I used to kid with my guys and said, well, that's really well and done. But for example, what? When I find someone in the supermarket and spread my light, do I send them an invoice? What do I do?
Right,
Like what? Like I have cash app. What?
right.
And then
It's
they said you need to be supported. You have a team that
yeah,
came with you, and then it's like, where are they? I'm funny sometimes, and I'm so stubborn. I mean, I'm a double Taurus. I just learned. I thought I was an ascendant of Aries. No, no, no. I'm an ascendant of Taurus too. Oh, what am I in the Chinese calendar? An ox.
wow. It is very, very important though about that, of just really understanding. I think there's not a lot of people embracing, being the beacon of light,
Mm.
because people are still chasing the fame. and still chasing the, the Teresa Caputos and, those people are who they
Yeah,
are being who they're
the
meant to
Abraham
be.
Hicks, the Lee Harrises, the everything. It was, but once I accepted the fact that I will not be that, because another characteristic what I didn't mention about a light bearer, a light tower, is that you feel like freedom is what you need. You don't
Hmm.
know why, but you cannot be tied down to anything.
Yep.
So, if you have a healing practice, if you have a business, if you are Teresa Capuro, if you are Lee Harris, you are dedicated, tied down to that entity of your business, and you
Right.
thrive in it because that's what you're supposed to do. But we are not like that. I mean, you have to have the freedom of it comes to your intuition that I have to go to the supermarket. Why? I don't know.
Right.
I think I need to buy eggs, and then you go there and you find someone, you find a friend, you find someone that needed you. You do your lighthouse thing, and then you come home.
Right. The crazy thing is, in 2019 is when probably mid 2019 is when I was started going through my spiritual path. And then I came into tarot. And then, we were coming into COVID and I didn't know why, because I never did tarot before. It wasn't like I knew about tarot. Wasn't like I did tarot as a kid, any of that. I just kind of jumped in, and a roundabout way, someone had shown me a little bit about tarot, and then I was just called to it. Like I
Mhm.
needed to do it. I needed to. And then in 2020, I was online. I was online doing tarot. And that's where I heard a lot of people saying, like, they would just sit, I would be on live like 6 to 8 hours straight. And people would be on the lives like, you don't know how comforting it is just to sit here and listen to you. And I
Uh-huh.
had people just really like, I feel better after just being on this live with you. And I didn't understand what that meant.
Mhm.
I didn't understand what was going on with that. I just knew this is what I needed to be. This is where I'm at, And then, of course, along 2020, you're doing everything else, thinking of what you're doing. 2020 is when I, opened up a crystal shop, like, oh, okay, I'm going to do a crystal shop. And then realize, like, nope, that's, that's not it. And then you just keep going, but you're pulled. And then finally, after just kind of sitting now, I stopped being live so much and kind of took a break from being live. Just not really, just like, okay, I need a break. I know I need a break. I know I need to sit back and rest. And then I picked up just kind of on the side, I do DoorDash. But the interesting thing about doing DoorDash is I'm literally in everywhere. I'm hopping into so many different spaces and places, just standing there looking at people talking. And you just realize, again, in this card I'm going to read in a moment, it's, I think about 2 years ago, it popped up because I have this beautiful deck. And I don't know if you've ever
Oh,
seen this
yeah.
this deck. I absolutely love this Oracle deck, hands down one of my favorite ones. But about 2 years, I got this card that came out. It's actually number 33, which is a spiritual number for myself that comes out. Lets me know I'm where I need to be. I see that number all the time. But 2 years ago, when it came out talking about the light tower, I didn't understand what it meant. I didn't understand any of that. So now I get it. And now I'm like, okay, I'm going, and believe me, I'm taken care of. I'm good. My life is really good. I'm going to school full time. I mean, my life is good. I can't can't
Yeah.
complain. But I realize now it's just like, you're not needed online no more. You're needed over here. When you were
Yeah.
needed online, you were online. It was
Yeah.
booming. Everything was being paid through
Yeah.
that. That's where you were needed. But once that changed, it was like, no, now we need you physically out in this particular space. We need you to be out. We need you to be here. And it's a big thing to just kind of sit your pride and ego to the side and say, I'm okay with this. Because some people will look at it and be like, oh, that's small. But it's like, no, the ripple effect to what you're doing, you think it's small, but it's not. There's a ripple effect that
And it,
happens.
and it's huge. When this friend came over, I'm a massage therapist, so that's how I touch people.
Mm,
I mean, physically and in other
right.
ways. And she had a client that I had in one of the places that I worked and I quit. And she mentioned me by name, mentioned my purple hair, so that's how my friend knew it was me. And she said what an impact I had from the beginning, explaining to her that massages were different. Which I go, yes, like you just go through the routine and you think it's
Right.
normal. She said
Right.
that I made a big difference in her life. And now that I'm leaving, a lot of people are saying that, and then you realize that, yeah, I mean, and sometimes it's just listening,
Yeah.
just being there and holding the space is all that is needed. And like you say, unfortunately, our ego wants to, mine not anymore that much, but
Mhm.
you would like to be, I would like something to take off and stay security, right? But it just
Right.
doesn't. Like it takes off when it needs to, and then it fizzles, forcing
Right.
me to move. Hmm.
Yeah, I think I've gotten to where I'm okay with it. Like I'm not striving to become anybody far as famous or anything like that. I'm really just, this part of life has been mastering holding space. And I understand it on a different level that I ever have before. Because in the beginning, it was just like, oh, what am I doing? I'm just sitting here,
Hmm.
just sitting here doing nothing. But now I really understand it on a deeper
Yeah.
level that there's a lot going on with just being in that
Hmm.
light. And it's so important. And that's why I wanted to do this podcast with you, because I'm like, it's so important, and
Yeah.
people are not understanding it. So they're dimming their light so that they can become something else and not realizing just
Yeah.
how powerful they are of just being here.
Now I don't know if you want to do it online, if it's going too long, you want to do it after. But there is a message from one of the archangels. I don't know if you want to listen
Okay.
to it here, or do you want to do it afterwards? They're asking.
Um, I'll, I'm kind of like, ooh, I don't know. Go ahead.
Okay, so it's someone I worked with a while back. His name is Archangel Uriel. You might know him. I worked
Mm,
with him as the keeper of the veils. Like he would help keep the veil open when people cross over. So I met him when I was remembering how to cross people over, talking about being a jack of all trades.
right,
And for a while I practiced, and then he went out of my life. And recently I got a deck and he showed up, and his name means the light of God. Interesting enough.
right,
So I was told that I go, oh, I didn't know that. So he's he's the one coming through, and the message is, it's almost like he's the, I mean, if you're in the Roman Catholic Church, he would be like the patron saint of
okay,
light workers, light houses, light, whatever you want to call them. And the message for you is to keep on. He would like to work with you eventually, because I think you get messages as well.
I do, I do.
You do. So he's introducing himself to you so that you know that he is real. He is working with light, I mean, with light workers, for us to remember what we transmit, like what kind of energy, because every light bearer or lighthouse, even though we anchor light, we anchor different light.
Right,
It's almost like what would you call it, like frequencies.
right,
um and he's there for you, and that he's glad you are studying something. At the same time, he would like to let you know that every light bearer has a financial backer, or a group of financial backers, is and they are looking for us. What is, because I'm asking, so what is interfering with us finding them, or them finding us? The surrendering to trust to be taken care of. They
yeah,
have no agenda. They're not going to use you. They're not going to abuse you. You have to discern, because imposter might show up, and it's important to somehow get together a group of, maybe where we can all get together. Maybe it'll be the group of two now, and eventually it'll be a group of more people,
right,
to help each other discern what is happening. Um, Things are going to happen very differently from what you think they are, which you already know this.
Yeah.
So just it's about letting it go. And he's just asking if you have any questions for him.
Hmm.
I know he says, I'm sorry I caught you by surprise, but you are a hard person to get a hold of sometimes.
Yeah. 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 I'm all over the place in my energy and my mind. I'm a natural dreamer too, so I'm constantly probably in fantasy a lot. I like to play over there in fantasy a lot. Um, hmm.
He would like to comment on that.
Okay.
So that is part of the, so a lot of the light workers have that, and they call it imagination, but you're actually like a quantum weaver.
Mm,
So through your imagination, you weave realities. That's why it's important to see where your imagination is taking you to. But all
okay.
of those dreams that sometimes you don't even realize, because sometimes they're not even about you precisely. They might be about a place, he says.
Right.
You are weaving without moving. You're quantically weaving the energy necessary from that place. So I think he called it imaginal, like it's imaginal, not imagination, because imagination sometimes doesn't have any substance. It can
Right.
never be funneled into 3D. Part of what we do and we need to learn to do, we're very, very, very good at weaving in that imaginal or that quantum realm. We need to learn to bring those weavings through into the
Hmm.
material. And how we do that is by opening the heart.
What because that's a common something I've been working on for years with healing. But does he have any like another tip outside of what I know? What would be the next step to opening the heart?
Well, I think that you know that it needs to be about trust, and you need to realize that being vulnerable is not is is not a disease or it's not a weakness. The moment you begin to be vulnerable, that you begin to realize all of your hurts that you have stored into the heart chakra. And it's not only from this lifetime. You and I have met in other lifetimes.
Yeah.
We have not, you have, it's really funny. He says, you have not fared well, not because of our meeting, but because of opening your heart.
Mm-hmm.
And opening your heart, you equate it to being in danger. Because
Mm-hmm.
open, like you were, you were a healer, you wanted to do stuff, and then you got betrayed by people that were very close to you many lifetimes, and
Mm-hmm.
even now. So you have to realize that that is in the past and that was someone else. He says to rewrite your story. Because I'm asking, like, would that rewrite really the past? And then he says,
Right.
yes, it will. It really literally will. At the same time, you don't have to worry about it. And that reminds me of how this morning I was thinking about things in the past and it has no charge. It almost feels like it didn't happen. And then
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to go reaching for them, and I was told not to reach because I would activate them again. So he says that it really doesn't matter if it happened or it didn't happen, but at least for you it didn't happen any longer.
Okay.
So by
Okay.
rewriting that, because a lot of people think that rewriting is like very airy, because I mean, you say, well, they were mean to me. So
Mm-hmm.
rewriting your story doesn't mean that you're going to go and look for those people and get yourself into danger again.
Right.
They could change. By writing the story, they could show up differently. And they might, and most probably they will. Meanwhile, it's about discernment. So it's just about realizing to rewrite the past and really letting it go. That reminding me that I always look and try to dig deeper. Sometimes don't, like just let it go. Don't bring it back.
Mm-hmm.
So shadow work in that respect is what is going to help you by rewriting what happened. You're writing your present and your future. And then, interesting enough, he says, so that is about rewriting, but at the same time, what we're not doing, a lot of us, we're not doing is reaching for ourselves in the future.
Mm.
Because some of us through QHHT are reaching to our higher self, which is amazing because there is nothing they don't know, nothing they cannot do. At the same time, when it needs to applying it into earth, there is no one better than our future selves that have
Mm.
gone through it. Not to solve it for us, but sometimes just by being in contact with them, that they have already gone through it and healed it, it gets
Mm.
healed. It's weird how I see it.
Hmm. I haven't done that one, so that's okay.
So he said that, he just knows that, this podcast can be what it can be, but he's there for you. He's there for you. And whenever you need to, I'm here for you too.
Okay.
Teresina, the real body.
And how do you spell it, his name?
His name is Urel. So
Okay.
recently, I was told that their names, like when we say Uriel, the way I said it, their name is being said wrong. That is almost by syllables because of the frequency. So his name would be like U
Ooh,
R L.
Ariel.
U R L.
Ooh, yeah.
Because each syllable has a meaning and it has a sound.
Hmm.
They're not bad that we call them Uriel, but that's not their name.
Yeah, it gave me chills saying it the other way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what it
Definitely.
is.
Yeah. I've come across his name before, actually.
Yeah, I almost, my understanding about archangels is like
Mm.
generations, or, so, one of the oldest generations is like Metatron, even though he said he was human. I think that like he's like even Archangel Michael, when he comes in, he just kind of, like he's in his best behavior because Michael can be very mischievous.
Uh-huh.
And, and then there is, Archangel Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, that seem to be like another generation. And then Uriel
Mm.
seems to be another generation of
Mm.
archangels. So even though they share the same family and spiritual family, they seem to be, in my eyes, they are younger, not less wise, but they seem to be younger, which sometimes is
Mm.
a good thing.
Yeah. It's trippy learning about them. I feel like there's still so much we don't know about them, that we're
Yeah.
still learning and being revealed to us.
Yeah, and what I know is that a lot of the archangels of the generation of Michael and above Michael, that is my understanding, with the evolution of Gaia, they'll be living and new guardians will be showing up.
Mm. I think that's an awesome time.
It
All
is,
right.
although sometimes I tell you, I have a friend that sometimes goes out into the backyard and goes, "If you're out there, pick me up."
Yeah, I know a couple. I think I've been there. I've been there a few times. Like, you know what? Get me off this damn planet. I'm done.
Well, I think once in a while, me too, but it is an amazing time.
It is. It is. I definitely have come to a place where I am seeing more beauty in the world than I ever have in my whole life,
Mhm.
and taking it in just slower in life than probably what I've ever done, which has definitely been a huge change in the past 2 years. Especially this past year has been a huge change for me. So it's pretty neat. It's pretty neat to just kind of sit back and
Yeah.
let stuff happen.
And I also want to bring out the point that most humans, most people are good people.
Yeah.
And just like us that were not in the news, they are not in the news either, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
this thing that people say that the world is going to crap and that people are really mean and stuff like that. No, I don't really think so. I live in San Antonio and people are very generous. They are
Yeah.
caring, clueless sometimes in a certain way, but nevertheless, I really have faith in humanity. I
Yeah.
really think that we have compassion. that when things, there is nothing that unites us more, unfortunately, that's something that goes wrong, a natural disaster, when you can see the compassion of people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
But
easy to get lost in the news and the narrative and get stuck on all of that. But I think that is a big part of it, of just getting away from that, getting away from social media, getting away from the news, and really getting out there and seeing. Because when you get out there, it's so different. You can go out there and find a million things that are wrong, a million people that are upset, or you can go out there and find the people who are just as happy, just as sweet, just as kind. And that's what I choose to focus on more versus the latter.
and that is the part of the, like you call yourself, the light tower. The light
Mhm.
tower, we cannot give ourselves. We cannot go and look at what is wrong. We're weaving the energetics of the future. So we're holding in that imaginal world that you live in. We're
Right.
holding the template for the future human and the future earth. So it's very important that we don't get contaminated with what they're trying to do and they're trying to convey to us. We need to hold the space for
Yeah.
that new template to actually manifest itself on earth. It doesn't mean that you're going to, if there's a hurricane coming or something, you cannot be completely clueless also. But the information for me comes always. I don't look for it, but when I need to, the information comes for me to react to something physically. But
Right.
we need to hold that space of what is coming. So it's important that we know that. And people call us like Pollyannas and all kind of names that, they're not very flattering. But nevertheless, that is part of our work. People have different, or, humans have different missions, and some are fighting, are actually fighting what is going out there. We're not. We're actually looking into the future. And just to close, I was told in 2020 that I could not go into the shadows anymore looking for people and shining my light. There was an opening that had opened, and I could shine my light on the opening to call people out. I couldn't even reach in anymore, otherwise I would be pulled in. And they told me that by this year, by the end of this year, I was going to have to turn around and not even focus my light any longer into the hole where people could come out, but light into a higher tier of
Right.
energy to focus the people and to move along with them.
Right. I
I don't know
think
if that
that's
makes
so
sense to you.
interesting.
No,
I
well,
mean,
we
I
could go.
understand it. Maybe a lot of people listening are not going to understand it, but I think the people who are those beacons of light, I think they will get it. I think they'll hear it. I think this message will hit them a certain way, and then they'll maybe look for more information, or maybe sit in meditation, call those guides in, and kind of open up
Mhm.
some information. But I feel as soon as you say like you want information, they have a funny way of bringing it. Whether it's a person, whether it's an oracle card, whatever, there's a funny way that you're going to get the answers, and it's just going to keep those. I call them breadcrumbs, but not in a bad way. I don't feel it's breadcrumbs in a bad way. I feel like it's those breadcrumbs because we have to experience it as we go, and to get to where we're going, right?
Yeah, and to know that our place is as important as anyone else's. It's just what you're focusing on. And right now, as of and it's beginning to happen. So basically, do not try to rescue people like you did in the past, because we're very good at doing that.
Oh
Because
yeah.
you'll get stuck. So it's about, and don't feel guilty about it. You
Hmm.
did it. It's the timing. The timing is all of the sudden. And many of us, maybe that's happening. Finally, things are happening. Things are moving, and we're moving towards somewhere else.
Yeah, that's a big one. The letting go of people. That's still a big one. And I had to go through it myself. It was a huge thing of not feeling guilty of leaving people behind, even family, like leaving people
Mhm.
behind and letting go. And I know just from clients and stuff, it's a big thing that people are still dealing with, of how to let go, because you're being told that this is my family and I got to stay here and I got to stay there. And it's like, but if you're forcing it, you're no longer meant to be attached to that person. I'm like you now where I have friends. I don't talk to them all the time. They're beautiful people. We come together every now and then and talk and have beautiful conversations, but we don't talk all the time. We're not on the phone, every week, every month. Months can pass. Sometimes even close to a year will pass by. And it's like, oh wow, we haven't talked. And even like that with family, like I don't see them. It's just
Mhm.
it's not supposed to be right now, and I'm just allowing it. So if you come to that surrender part that you're talking about, it's like, and just allow yourself to be where you're being called versus forcing to be where maybe you're it's not it anymore, those relationships, because again, you're not giving the room for new people to come in. You're not, making that space.
And that is one of them. And the other thing is that it's really none of our business to try to save them.
Yep.
They have to go through what they have to do. And if they don't get it, they're not going to get it. And if it's family, probably you're not the one that's going to show them how. Somebody will come along and tell them exactly what you've been telling them for 30 years. Well, no, maybe not that much, but maybe 3, 4 years. And then all of a sudden it's like, guess what? They got it. That's
Yeah.
okay. Sometimes family is the hardest
Yeah.
to, and sometimes they get to a point where they finally get it. So, yeah, and for me, it's a way of sabotaging yourself as well,
Yep.
because then you don't have to it's the perfect excuse.
Oh yeah. Well, that comes the guilt of I have all of this stuff and all these tools and I can't help. And it's like, yeah, but you're not supposed to.
No,
It's
you're
not
not,
for
well,
you.
you're not supposed to do the work for anyone.
Yeah.
And you're not
Yeah.
supposed to interfere with whatever they're going through. You can be there with your light so that it's not that painful. But if they
Right.
don't get it, if they're caught up, they're caught up. And there is
Right.
nothing you can do.
No, no, that's the
So,
surrender and letting go. Like you
so
really are.
turn the light inside and see what you find.
Exactly. It's just like you really, and it is hard. I will not say it like it's easy. It is very hard, especially when you really love and care for your people. It is hard to step aside because you just really want to, but it's definitely necessary.
Well, I mean, with my parents last year, that was the hardest lesson too, to let them go because I wasn't making any difference and I was getting sick, physically sick,
Mm,
because I
yeah.
felt impotent. I felt so. I mean, my better way to defend myself is to not know what's happening because I'm still
Mm,
human. They could still trigger me. You would say, well, maybe you needed to learn for it not to ever matter. I don't know if it would have gotten to the point where it ever mattered, but
right.
I knew that it wasn't good for me and I love myself enough to walk away.
Right.
So, I didn't see my dad a year before he passed away. I didn't see
Mm,
them because, that's maybe not too bad for other people that are in another country, but I chose not to for their benefit and my benefit because I wasn't being nice either. Feeling so frustrated, I wasn't being nice. So I had to make peace with it and know that maybe I wouldn't see him before he passed. And that happened. But now, of course, he passed along and now he's all over my business. But he's in a better place. He's who he really is. So I'm
yeah.
really enjoying him. So that relationship that I didn't get to have, I have
Mhm.
him now once in a while. So it's good. Good.
It definitely is. It's different. Definitely different. I'll say that, of just understanding that piece of you're not
Hmm.
you're not disconnecting with anyone because you're mad or angry or hate them. You're just disconnecting because that we are human, and there is really no way to disconnect when you care about someone. It's hard to just say, I can see you suffer and I can see you going through those things and still be okay with it, because I can't. It hurts too much, or
And it's not it that we are really sensitive. We're highly sensitive people. We're empaths, whatever you want to call us. So
mm,
that it's a toxic environment for many people that are
right.
like this, extremely toxic. So you absorb that. You are marinating in this. So I mean, so the consequences are physical. They get to get physical. So you can't be there. I mean, why would you, like, would you put your hand where there's a scorpion, so the scorpion would just sting you and sting you and sting you. Would you do
No.
that? No. So
Right.
why do you keep doing that? That doesn't mean that you don't have compassion, but maybe from far away, light your light. Think
Right.
about them, hold the space for them to be well, to make a peaceful transition, for things to work out, and then miracles happen.
Right. It's actually a beautiful thing. Okay. I know we've gone over a lot from the hour. Because I literally could go on in this
Oh,
subject.
yeah.
It's crazy. I'm just gonna read a little bit of this card for you guys, and this is how, like I said, how it kind of, the light went off in my mind, like, oh crap, this is what I'm doing. This is who I am. This is the biggest part of me. Out of all the, the bag of stuff that I can do, this is like one of the main purposes of who I am, which was crazy to kind of come into. But it says, it is your time to shine. You do not stand alone, and yet you will at times feel as though you are alone, lighthouse, shining your truth to those lost in a stormy sea of darkness who need
Mhm.
help to find their way safely to the shore. You cannot fulfill this spiritual task if you lift your lighthouse self off of the rocks and go in search of a sunny day. For the
Mhm.
lighthouse is to be able to assist those in need. It must be present and luminous within the darkness. You must trust during this time that you have enough light within your heart from your own powerful inner connection to the divine light of love to sustain you as you shine bright through the night. If you sense that there is much pain and suffering around you, do not become afraid. You are fulfilling a spiritual task to help those who are lost. You are the lighthouse shining in the darkness. And there's a
Yeah.
lot more to this card, of course, because these cards are huge and long. But that
Yeah.
was just like, oh wow, like kind of
Yeah.
like, oh wow. And it made so much sense of everything that I had kind of gone through and seen and experienced, and just even that of feeling the pain and suffering of others, because I would
Mhm.
tell people, like, I can feel on a
Mhm.
cosmic level the suffering of people, the despair of other people,
Yeah.
of the collective, but I
Yeah.
had to learn how to release it, because I was
Yeah.
storing it and holding it in, which was not good for me.
No, and you have to ask the question: is this mine?
Yeah, yeah,
Is
yeah,
this mine? And if it's usually my angels told me that if it's not yours, you won't be able to fix it, or you won't be able to make head of tails out of it. So you need to let it go.
right, right. So
That's a
Chris, there's
beautiful card. Beautiful card.
it is. It was very enlightening when I got it. And like I said, that is probably one of the Oracle card decks that I love. I've had it for a few years, and no matter when I have that urge to pick it up and shuffle, it always gives me something that's just on point and deeply, engraved. And last year I got one that talked about the heart healing. So, the archangel mentioning the heart healing is something that I've been doing for a while, but there's a lot of pain that I'm still healing. So it's just, I
Mhm.
know in time, as I keep going through the techniques and stuff, I'll get to that point where that won't be, it'll just keep reciting or receding, or maybe it'll just heal.
Well, final message from this one is Raphael. Raphael is saying to beware that a lot of the healing that still needs to be done is going to be ancestral. So there is no way, like I told you, there is no way you're going to be able to make sense of it. It just doesn't make sense to you.
Hmm.
And that is the clue to transmute it. You can transmute it through the purple flame, purple dragon, purple river, purple anything that transmute, Saint Germain, anything like that. Just transmute it, because it's about burning it and transmute it from the negative into the positive. But you will not be, when it's yours, you work through it.
Hmm.
But when it's not yours, you can't. And a lot of the stuff that because you've done a lot of healing on yourself already, and that has been done. A lot of what is popping up right now for a lot of people that have done shadow work, that have faced those parts of themselves, is collective
Yeah.
ancestral in your DNA, and
Yeah.
eventually spiritual DNA, meaning spiritual families as well.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Yeah. It makes a lot of sense.
So
It's
don't get
it's trippy.
Well, it's trippy because I was saying, like, you're kidding me. Like, they're not only like ancestral, like my DNA, and they told me once a while back, they said, well, right now you're going through ancestral DNA physical, so don't worry about it. And recently they told me that it's also spiritual. So just it's the same process, is to say it's not mine.
Right.
There is a somebody, Lee Harris. I'll send it to you through email.
Okay.
And it's about releasing the energies that is not yours. So if you like to sing, maybe you can sing along. There you
Right.
go.
Right. I'll definitely. I think it's always good to just try new techniques. I know I got to one point where all my old techniques weren't working anymore, and I was like, oh, all my stuff is not working no more. This is where we're at a different phase, so now I got to start learning new things, to assist and help.
And that's what they're saying right now. Probably when you hit that point is that most of your shadows have been transmuted to the point where you don't need to worry about them. Not that we're perfect. We're gonna
Right,
still
right,
be
right, right,
triggered. Don't
right,
get it like that. But it's just then you is the next step is ancestral.
right, right. Yeah, and that one is pretty deep, far as what I've can tell this past like almost 2 years, because my mom came back around. Well, I kind of brought my mom back around, but I knew somewhere I knew the ancestral stuff was there to heal, which has been interesting enough on that part too. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, and it's all to do about women as well. So it's ancestral,
yeah,
on just being a woman from the past. I don't know, like 50,000 years or whatever it is.
yeah. I've had quite a few past lives that I've been able to see and tap into, which has been pretty cool. And the ancestral stuff of just getting to know those women, their traumas and things that they've gone through in this particular DNA that I'm in this life, that ancestral stuff. So it's pretty neat. Once you kind of just allow yourself to kind of tap in and find beautiful people to work with, because I don't do those things on my own, you guys. I don't just there's some things I do on my own, but I do find beautiful people to work with, or actually I don't find them. Spirit kind of brings them.
Yeah, yeah. They fall on your
You
lap,
think
like
they
I
just
said.
pop
Yeah,
up, but spirit kind
yeah,
of brings the beautiful energies to you. So if you're seeing or listening to this podcast, it is not by accident. Okay, your team has brought you here for a
yeah.
purpose and a reason.
Yeah, and if people want to reach out, I guess it's like my Mystic Pilgrim at gmail.com. Right now, I let go of websites and stuff like that because it wasn't
Right,
working. It
right,
wasn't doing anything. I mean, I manifested a beautiful, beautiful business coach for free and stuff like that, but that's not me. I had to let it go. That's
right,
not me. So so I have a dedicated Gmail that's all I'm using it all for Mystic Pilgrim. So if you want to, feel just inclined to contact me, you already know who I am. And you can also, contact me that way, and maybe we can start hooking up, and it's having a group of light towers, light bearer, lighthouses, whatever we want to
right.
call ourselves.
Well, we will definitely be in contact. You guys, I will have her email in the description so that you can contact her, talk with her. If you feel called to, definitely go and do it. Because, like I said, if you came across this podcast, it wasn't by accident. There's gems
No,
in here. And I do believe, especially in my path, I believe spirit brings the most beautiful and just amazing people that are in their spaces. And most of the people I've created bonds, they're all for reasons and purposes, which I just love. I just love how they do this. So as we
Rafa.
end this podcast, what advice would you like to tell someone who feels called to becoming and embracing the being the beacon of light?
My advice would be to embrace who you are, and to finally rest in the assurance that you are extremely important in the process of evolution. We are a quiet type. We tend to gravitate towards many things. Freedom is extremely important for us, so be sure that you're free to travel and to do things that you need and you're called to do, you're very important human being anchoring this light. So just be there, spread your light, be who you are. You're important, you are loved, you are seen, you are felt more than you know.
So beautiful. Thank you so much again for joining me and just coming on and bringing your expertise and your just everything that you've gone through. Journey, beautiful journey, ups and downs, of course, but definitely.
Oh, it's been a beautiful journey. I've lived in 3 countries, US, Mexico, and Canada.
Mm.
So I mean, everything have two beautiful children. So but I'm happy where I am right now.
1:33 on the clock right now. So we are ending it, you guys. As
Okay.
always, sending you guys so much love, so much light. Until next time, bye.
Bye bye.